So today we're filming under a gazebo because again it's pouring down with rain. This year we've had so much rain and I've had loads of questions about these things, outdoor sockets. Loads of people have been getting rain, find their way into the sockets, tripping RCDs and causing loads of issues. And this old one that's obviously been there some years is no exception. Now 3 years ago my first ever video on YouTube was how to install an outdoor socket. I'll link it at the end of the video, but things have come a long way since then and I want to revisit this topic. So I'm going to show you guys how we replace this old thing with one of the easiest outdoor sockets that you guys can install yourself at home. This is MK's Master Seal Rapid Fix. It has screwless terminals on the back. It's really quick, really easy. These guys are not sponsoring this video, I just like the product and I want to show you guys how easy it is to change one of these for this great piece of kit here, which is IP66 rated. So you shouldn't get any moisture issues going forward with one of these. What we're going to do first is isolate the circuit that this outdoor socket is on. Now to do that we're going to go to the consumer unit or fuse board and we're going to turn off the relevant breaker to this circuit. If you're unsure which breaker it is, you can isolate the power to the whole property, and it is important that you're competent and confident to carry out basic electrical work before proceeding. If not, do give an electrician a call to help. If you're replacing a socket like I am, put one of these little socket testers into the socket. I'm going to head to the consumer unit, I'm going to turn the circuit off that I think that socket is on, and what we should find is that that stops beeping. So I've turned that circuit off and the socket tester has stopped beeping. We're going to take the face off the socket now, and then there's one more check that we're going to do to be sure that there's no power and that we're safe to continue. I'm now just undoing the 4 screws in the corners and then I can pull the socket away from the back plate. So we've got the face of the socket off. You're reasonably confident that there's no power coming to this, but before we go any further I'd recommend that you use a voltage tester and proving unit just to check that there's no power coming to this. We use the proving unit to test that the voltage tester is working, and then we test across all the terminals to check for power coming to the socket. I'm then going to recheck the voltage tester with the proving unit. It looks to me that in a couple of places the seal has perished. It actually looks like it's been hit there on the side, which may have caused the water to get in there. What we're going to do now is just take this socket off the wall. Now that we're sure we can proceed, we'll just undo the terminals and take the cable from the faceplate, and then we're going to remove this box from the wall. Usually they're just held on with 4 screws. If you're replacing one like I am, you might have a little bit of silicone behind there, and that is the old box removed. So to install this socket, they've spurred off from a socket the other side. Now when they've done that, it looks to me like they've just drilled from the other side and blown the brick, and that's what's caused this damage to the brick here. Now in this case they've got away with it because it was covered by the socket. Now the problem we're going to have here is the drill outs on the back of this box. So usually what you would do is use the guides here for the back drill outs, so they're the entry points if you're coming through from a socket on the other side of the wall like we are here. We can't do that because we need to cover up this mess on the brick, so we're going to have to just drill in the middle here with a small hole where there is no drill out, but it's going to do the same job. We'll seal around it anyway. If you've got power coming in other places, you've got these little knockouts on the box, you can just push them out and use them to bring your cable into the box. I'll use my step drill bit to drill a small hole in the back of the box, just big enough for the cable to pass through. Now we've got our cable entry point. Now if you're not replacing a socket like I am and you're installing this from scratch, go and check out my other video because it explains a little bit more of this in detail. So next up, you can see on the bottom of the box here you've got a drain hole. We're just going to drill that out now. For that we'll need a 5mm drill bit to make a small hole where indicated. Now normally you'd pop a little bead of silicone sealant around the outside of the drill out here, and that would stop any water coming through. But because the brick is so blown out, if I put silicone sealant around the back of this, it won't come into contact with the brick anyway. Now I'm hoping that when this hole was drilled, it was drilled at a very slight upwards angle. That way no water can track back up into the house. It doesn't look like there's been any water track back along this cable, so what I think I'm going to do is just put a bit of silicone sealant around that just to be sure, really. So I'm just going to put a bit of silicone around there. Like I say, it's not particularly pretty or the normal way I do things, but we're working with, you know, someone else's work. I didn't drill the hole, so I don't have control of that. We're going to feed the conductors through the back of the box, just like that. And when I do these from scratch, I like to put a little bit of conduit or pipe through the wall. That little system works quite well. Check out my other video for more instructions on that. But because we've just got a bit of twin and earth coming through the wall, you can see the box stays where we want it because the cable's kind of holding it in place. There's no need for a bigger hole than what we've got there. Now the box covers all the old screw holes. Annoyingly, they're a little bit different to the old box, so we have got to drill more, but the box does cover them. Now I'll grab a small stubby level and a tracer pencil, and I'm going to mark the locations for the screws. I'll just use a small level to level the box up and then mark the locations through the back of the box. You can see the new screws are going to be very close actually to the old ones, but we should still get a good solid fixing. So I'll now use a 6mm drill bit to drill on the marks. Now before I do that, if the video is helping you, make sure you give it a like, because that helps it reach more people on YouTube and therefore help more people. And hit subscribe if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss out on more helpful videos like this one. I now make 4 holes using a 6mm drill bit, and then I pop a 6mm plug into the holes. So now the plugs are in, we can get the cable back through the box. Remember, drain hole down, then pop your little level back in the box and screw it to the wall. Do the screws up hand tight. You don't want to use an impact driver, because if you do, you'll more than likely end up cracking the plastics. So make sure it's nice and level and get the screws done up on all 4 corners of the box. I then use a bit more silicone just to seal around the cable so no water can get into the box. So we've got the box on the wall, and I'm now going to move on to showing you how to fit the socket onto the box. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about this week's sponsor, Quickwire. Now what goodies do we have here? Quickwire make some incredible accessories for your lighting needs. So if you follow the channel, you'll have seen me use Quickwire's accessories in previous lighting videos, such as my downlight project, and in that video I used their Quickwire switch and load junction box, which is incredibly quick to use. You'll have also seen me use their incredibly quick and easy to install downlights. They're the best downlight that I've ever used on the channel or otherwise by far, and that is simply because of the Quickwire connector system and how easy that system is to use. The Quickwire wire strippers make it really easy to strip off the correct amount and push the cable into their quick connectors. This is the same whether you're using the switch and load junction box, the Quickwire splitter, or the Quickwire downlights. So if you're a tradesman or a DIYer, make sure you check out Quickwire, because they are going to make your life so much easier. The link to their website and their great products is in the description down below. Thanks, Quickwire. Now, if we look at the existing conductors here, you'll see that the ends of them are doubled over. Now, that's good practice when you've got a single conductor going into a screw terminal like our old socket had. But this socket doesn't. It has screwless terminals, a bit like Wago connectors. You've got little levers here that you can just pop your cable into and flick it down, and it locks the cable in place. Now, because we have screwless terminals, we don't want these doubled over ends on our conductors. So what I'll do is just trim the end of that conductor off. The socket has a little gauge on the back here to indicate that you need to strip off 10mm from each conductor. Now we're going to fit the socket. We only need to flip up one of the little levers, because this socket here is a spur from the socket behind. You may have more than one of each conductor. If you do, flip up the relevant lever connectors. You've got 3 here on each terminal, 3 lives, 3 neutrals, 3 earths. Now these are the new wiring colours. I'll put a chart on the screen for the old wiring colours. So in this case we've got brown for live, blue for neutral, and yellow and green for CPC or earth. We're going to place those into the relevant terminals now. Blue for neutral, pop that in the terminal, flip the lever down. Yellow and green sleeved for earth, flip the lever down. And then last of all, live, which is brown, flip the lever down. Give them all a tug to make sure they're not loose. Now you can offer the socket up to the back box. So you want to push the socket back and make sure that the seal is seated properly. You can then do up your screws. Once all the screws are in, just go around and check each screw, just give it a little nip up, and that is how you install an IP66 rated outdoor socket. Now the job's done, you're safe to turn the power back on and give this a test to make sure everything's working as expected. There we go, the perfect replacement for a fully outdoor socket or a new installation. And you'll be able to use this guide with my other video on outdoor sockets together to get this job done yourself at home. If you found it helpful and enjoyed it, hit one of these because there's so much more to learn, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm going to plug my Christmas lights in now.